What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Back at it again with another banger, my friends. Y'all know the vibes. Kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
So South Carolina is still reeling off that loss to Texas, man. Their first SEC loss in some years. Majority of this roster, majority of this student body at South Carolina had never witnessed this team lose an SEC contest. All great things must come to an end. It finally happened. They got outplayed. They got bullied a little bit. And they're still trying to figure some things out with this rotation. Should Chloe Kitts, Joyce Edwards have been in the game late? Should Malaysia Fulwiley have been in the game late? Should they have relied on Sanaya Fagan? Are there too many cooks in the kitchen? Is the depth a problem? These are all questions that are being asked, not just by me, but a lot of people. But Don Staley says, man, this team just got to get their swagger back.
You a little bit because it's so unfamiliar. Like, so you think about, where you need to improve. And most times when we've lost, it's more like an anomaly. Like, it's like, what the heck? Like, that wasn't us. That wasn't our defense. That wasn't our offense. And, more times than not, it was the opponent that did something to us. And then it was some of it self-inflicted as well. So we got to figure out what self-inflicted was, what the opponent forced us to do, what's the anomaly of it, and then try to fix it all at once. I think for us, we just need to get back confident in doing things the way we need to do things.
I'm expecting South Carolina to come out and crush Liv McGill in Florida, man. This South Carolina team, we saw what happened after they lost their last game. They won 17 straight and showed no mercy to anybody running through the gauntlet. That 5-game stretch they had against ranked teams, I mean, it's tough. It's emotionally draining. It's physically imposing and taxing, and you're just going through all types of emotions. It's a long season, and these are a lot of new players on this team that are playing pivotal roles, more so than they did last year on a more consistent basis. Then you got the freshmen added into the mix too. They're trying to adjust and adapt to taking everybody's best shot, I think, in some areas. Rebounding has been an issue for this squad. I still don't see room to panic. The SEC is still very much so winnable. South Carolina still very much so controls their own destiny in the SEC. But we have to circle that game, not to look past anybody else, but that game against Kentucky. They've went through the gauntlet and played basically the toughest teams in the SEC already. They got one mega matchup left. Of course, we know UConn, but I'm talking specifically SEC here. That Kentucky game. Kentucky's situation is very interesting. They just lost to Ole Miss, so they are in second now, or tied for second. So you look at it at the top, LSU 1 loss, Texas 1 loss, South Carolina 1 loss. Obviously, South Carolina beat LSU. They split with Texas. They may get the point differential if it comes down to that. Texas still has to play LSU, and they have a gauntlet too, man. They still have to play Kentucky as well. And Texas still has a gauntlet left, man. You look at it, they still have to play LSU, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Florida after Kentucky playing them next. So this is a matchup with lots of implications. Pretty much Kentucky has to win or they're knocked out of contention for the SEC title at this point, just presumably so. Then you got South Carolina, man, who continues to dominate. Of course, their biggest matchup we mentioned is Kentucky. If Kentucky wins out, that game becomes very, very interesting for Kentucky, man, if they can get an upset there. But they have to win out. Then you got LSU, who still has to play Texas. Also, they got to play Kentucky and Alabama. So a tough slate for LSU as well. And then Kentucky, oh my goodness, they still have to play LSU and Tennessee and South Carolina back to back to back. So there's a lot of different scenarios, man. I think for Kentucky, they're playing with house money. Nobody expected them to be this good in Coach Kenny Brooks' first year. So for me, him and Georgia are more, it is definitely win now, and I think they have the talent, the offense, the shooting ability, the firepower, the talent to contend in the SEC tournament, I would not be surprised, man, if they find themselves in the championship of this game potentially, if they get hot and make a run in the NCAA tournament as well. They got experienced guards, they have good bigs, and they got straight shooters on this roster. And Coach Kenny Brooks runs a dang pro-style system, so it's very extremely hard to guard. Then you got Texas. We mentioned their final matchups, man. They still got to play LSU. They still got to play Kentucky. Those will be 2 games to watch. Texas and LSU may be the most interesting matchup of the bunch because both these teams, for the most part, still control their own destiny if they win out and South Carolina were to drop another game. Whoever gets the win here could be the SEC champion, and that's just something to watch. LSU, for me, could be the most dangerous team in this conference, man. When you talk about having 3 players in Flau'jae Johnson, Michaela Williams, and Anissa Morrow that can score at any time, that can play the entire game, that have experience, that have won together, that have that ISO. Close it. They have closers late in the game. They're getting production from Samaya Smith, Jersey Wolfenbarger, Miracle Shepherd has come to life for this group. Like, LSU is definitely peaking at the right time, in my opinion. And then Texas, Madison Booker, Rory Harmon, like Taylor Jones, Old Acre, like this group definitely controls their destiny as well, man. If they win out, they get the split against South Carolina. They have LSU and Kentucky, which will be 2 must-win games if they want to compete and win that SEC regular season title. But things are wide open in the SEC right now for these teams. It's kind of top-heavy, but top to bottom, you still can't sleep on a team like Ole Miss, who could get hot late, too. Not saying they're going to win the SEC or nothing like that, but just saying, you know, they could definitely ruin somebody's season or ruin somebody's chance at this SEC title, man. But this is the most stacked conference in the country. It has been for the entire year. They've been beating up on each other. And I think the league overall is just a lot more competitive than it was last year with the additions of Texas and Oklahoma, as South Carolina saw losing to the newcomers Texas. Looking at it, it's going to be a very interesting last month of the season. All these games are going to be must-watch, and a lot of these teams have to win out. And they're controlling their own destiny right now. South Carolina has dominated this conference for the last several years. But could that reign come to an end with Big Bad Texas in town? All I got to say is whoever comes out of that SEC tournament, baby, is going to be very much so battle tested if they not limping into the NCAA tournament. But it's going to get spicy for sure, and we'll keep y'all updated with all the latest and the greatest. Y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments. That's a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. This is the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, comment, like, share. Y'all know what to do, and follow us on social media at Brandon Lee TV. Till next time, we out.